If you operate a business with significant public interaction, like a hotel or retail center, there's a critical liability exposure you need to understand: terrorism liability. Most business owners assume their general liability insurance covers all risks. However, most GL policies either exclude terrorism or offer very limited coverage for federally certified acts with inadequate sublimits. What happens if a terrorism event occurs at your location, injuring or killing third parties like guests, customers, or workers? Families may file liability claims alleging inadequate security or negligence, with claims easily reaching tens of millions of dollars. Without dedicated terrorism liability coverage, you face catastrophic financial exposure. Your general liability policy may deny the claim, leaving you to pay all defense costs and settlements from your business assets. Terrorism liability insurance is dedicated coverage protecting your business against third-party bodily injury and property damage claims from terrorism events at or related to your operations or construction projects. This is pure liability protection, not property insurance. It responds when someone is injured or their property is damaged, and they file a claim against your business. Coverage includes defense costs, which are critical as terrorism liability cases are complex, expensive, and often take years to resolve. Coverage varies for operational businesses like retail or hospitality, offering limits up to $100 million per occurrence in aggregate, with policy terms up to 24 months. For construction risks, limits are even higher, up to $250 million per occurrence and aggregate for 24-month policies, or $160 million per occurrence and aggregate for extended 48-month policies, ideal for long-term projects. Both operational and construction coverage offer $0 deductible options, meaning no out-of-pocket expense. Defense costs are included and capped within the policy limit, providing comprehensive financial protection. Consider a large hotel in a major city, hosting hundreds of guests and events daily. A terrorism event occurs, injuring guests. Families file wrongful death and injury claims totaling $60 million. They allege inadequate security. Your general liability insurer denies coverage, citing a terrorism exclusion. The TRIA added to the general liability policy also doesn't respond, as it isn't deemed a certified act of terrorism. You now face $60 million in liability with no insurance. Defense costs alone could reach $5 million, potentially devastating your business. With dedicated terrorism liability coverage of $100 million, your insurance responds immediately. Defense costs are covered, and settlements are paid up to policy limits, protecting your business and allowing operations to continue. For construction companies, terrorism liability exposure is equally significant. Imagine building a 40-story office tower with hundreds of workers over 36 months. A terrorism event targets your site, injuring workers, pedestrians, and damaging neighboring buildings. You face claims from injured workers, the public, and property owners. Total potential liability exceeds $100 million. Your general liability policy has a terrorism exclusion, leaving you with massive uninsured exposure that could bankrupt your company. With dedicated terrorism liability coverage for construction, you get $250 million for 24 months or $160 million for 48 months, covering all claims. Your business is protected and your reputation remains intact. Many high-profile projects now require contractors to carry dedicated terrorism liability coverage. This coverage is essential for qualification, not just protection. If your business has high public interaction or is in a high-profile location, like hotels, retail, or entertainment venues, you need this coverage. Contractors working on high-profile developments, infrastructure, or government facilities in major metropolitan areas also need dedicated terrorism liability protection. If your contracts require terrorism liability coverage, it's essential for operating and competing. Don't assume your general liability policy provides adequate terrorism coverage. Contact your insurance agent today to ask about terrorism liability insurance. Explain your operations or construction activities to get a quote for appropriate limits. $100 million for operational businesses or up to $250 million for construction risks. Understand your exposure and available protection. Terrorism liability is a real exposure most businesses are not adequately insured against. Dedicated terrorism liability insurance provides the protection you need. With limits up to $100 million for operational businesses and $250 million for construction projects, $0 deductible options, and nationwide coverage, comprehensive protection is accessible. Contact your insurance agent today to ensure your business has the terrorism liability coverage it needs.